Hello my model building chums and welcome back to the Yorkshire Modeller. We are now on to issue 13 of Hachette's Battleship Bismarck. So before we have a look through the magazine and start the build for this week, I just want to say a quick thank you to Martin Thompson and Spike Riches. Both of whom sent me messages regarding the first video that I uploaded for issue 12 being just frozen footage. I hadn't noticed it. When I was editing the video, everything was fine. I don't know whether it was something that happened between editing and uploading. I'm not sure, but thank you to both of you for mentioning it. I did record last week, same as I've done this week, on Wednesday, and then upload on a Thursday morning. So I was at work last Thursday. I wouldn't have had a clue that there was anything wrong if you hadn't have mentioned it, so thank you for mentioning it to me. Hopefully there will be no further technical problems. We're going to get straight into the build for this week, where it is fiddly. Fiddly's the word, I think. So with issue 13, we get the next keel section, the hinged supports for the breakwater, and then the brackets, I think these are. The mounting brackets that go on the gearbox. Those bits we fit first onto the sides of the gearbox that we did last week, and then these are the parts that I say are fiddly, because what we have is 10 of these and 10 of these little tiny hinges. So they're going to be interesting. We do get some more PB screws as well with this one. Remembering back to last week, there are a few different sizes of PB screws, so I'm just keeping them all in the one pot, but just remembering where each one needs to sit. And then we've got the brackets that go onto the gun support as well. Let's move everything over to the side. So first part is mounting the gun elevation gearbox. So we need to just bring in the deck that we did last week. So now I am going to be doing some blast bags onto these. So if you want me to do a video on how to do it, just let me know. It's really simple. I've seen a couple of tutorials on YouTube. There's plenty of them. But if you want to see me do it, just let me know. So if we gently flip the deck, over. Now what we've got at the minute is this gearbox just moving about all over the place. These brackets are just going to allow you to keep it all nice and stable. So we will just get into these screws for this week. Put these down here. Make sure there's nothing left in the bag. Lovely. So just zoom this in a little bit for you. There we go, that's better. So, gently turn the upper deck upside down, taking care not to damage any of the previously fitted parts. Fit the right gearbox mounting onto the 3 pegs on the gearbox housing. So that's all done on the side that's facing me. So, it's that one. So what you're doing is, just double check the instructions where this is going. It's just going into the 2 holes at the bottom. So on this side, this mounting goes onto these holes here. So there's 2 little pegs and a hole there. So there's the hole there, the 2 pegs, and then it screws into those 2 holes there and there. And how you know it's the right one is it follows the shape of the... Oh, crikey, off screen. It follows the shape that goes around here. So, it's that one. So it fits in neatly like that. Attach the right gearbox mounting bracket 13.4 to the gearbox housing 12.6 with a PB screw as shown. So the first one you do is just one of the PB screws, and you attach it to the gearbox itself first, not to the kind of the swivel bracket. Let me just zoom you out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing and it's not getting in the way of, my hand's not getting in the way. So if we line this up, you will need to turn your deck on its side a little bit because this is quite fiddly. So, very fiddly is actually a better description of this. If you tip your gun up as high as you can, I'll just zoom you all the way out for this bit then. So, swing this around just so you can see it, and I can see it a little bit better as well this way. So we'll line that hole up there with the peg, just like that, and then the screw goes in there. So that one's on nice and tight. Then it's just attach the left support in the same way. So they're all in. Don't break anything. That's a really important thing with this, because there's a lot of fragile plastic pieces on the deck. You don't want to be doing any damage to them. Otherwise, there may be a lot of swearing. This would be if it was in my house. So that's the two brackets both attached onto the gun itself. And then we go on to fix the gearbox mounting bracket to the gearbox housing as shown on the left side, which we've done. On the right side of the gearbox, fit the right gearbox mounting bracket to the cog using 2 PB screws, and then you do the exact same thing on the left hand side as well. So I'll just get these anchor chains moved out of the way. Back to the right hand side. Now this is where your boxes come in handy. So then, if you position these right, you don't need to worry about any deck details. Everything's resting nicely like that, so you can do what you need to do without worrying. Bring these screws around here. So, he says, that's better. So, now all you got to do is line the holes up. And just screw it in. That's one. That's two. And then just swing this beast on round so I can do the left hand side. That's 3. And that's 4. So, now that is all attached on. Move my boxes out of the way. That's all attached in nicely, which means that the whole gun itself is set. And then it is at a weird, funny angle at the minute, but I'm guessing when you apply a few more pieces, it'll allow you to move the gun up and down. I would hope so, anyway. Right, so that's all attached. Next is, let's put this slightly over to one side. There we go. So next, we're moving on to the fiddly pieces. So the first hinge supports for the front breakwater. Tiny little. That's one thing you will, if you've never built models before, it's one thing you will come to learn. Tiny little fiddly things. And they do get annoying. I know I mentioned in one of my earlier videos about cutting plastic bits off a sprue and carpet monster, things like that. If you've never built a model before and you don't know, or you have built models but you've never heard the term carpet monster before, the carpet monster is a real creature. Very, very, very real creature. Right, let me zoom you in again, so you can see just a little bit better what I'm doing. So we've got 10 of these little hinged pieces for the breakwater, and then we've got 10 little tiny brackets to attach them to. You don't get any spares with these, so this is a part where you really, really have to take care. So the instructions are: take one of the supports, 13.2, that's these bits, separate a hinge joint from the plastic framework, taking care that they do not fly off. Use sandpaper to smooth away any uneven surfaces where the part was removed from the framework. So all I'm going to do, these sprues come with these tiny little pegs on. So when you're cutting these off the sprue, if you put those pegs facing up on your workbench, it's flatter to the table. So it'll just mean that you don't have to worry as much about them pinging off. That's 1, that's 2, 3, 4. In fact, I'm going to use my side cutters, I think, as well for this. So you can just hold on to the part and then just... Sometimes I think this way is easier, just because you can actually hold on to the part that you're cutting off and you're not worrying that it's going to ping off somewhere, especially if they're really, really small pieces like this. And there we go. So they've all been cut away. All 10 of them are here. So yeah, they've got like a little peg on these ones. So super glue will be needed. I'll zoom you back out again a little bit so you can see a bit better what I'm going to be doing next. So I've just got a tiny little file just to file the ends just a tiny bit, and always keep the ones that you've filed separate from the ones that you've not, so you don't do two. Yeah, the rest of them look alright actually. So those are all sorted. Now what we're going to do next is, it says push the end of the support 13.2 that has the socket into the hinge joint on 13.5. The pins on the part of 2.5 fit into the socket and lock it in place. but the part remains movable. Do not glue. So on your little, try using your tweezers. So on your little kind of pin parts, the parts that are movable, you've got one side, if the camera will focus, that's got like two little notches in it, and those parts just clip straight into here. So you literally just push that in, and it should, in theory, stay where you put it. Like that. So that bit, there we go. So that metal bit there can move. So I'll do all 10 of them, and then we'll be back. So next we just bring the deck back in, and we're attaching these to this side. So I don't really think it matters which side you attach things to, but we're doing everything from there all the way around here. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8 holes there, another 2 there, and then we'll do these 10 on this side in a later issue. So I've already got my super glue set up, and this is just a simple case of putting a drop of super glue into the hole, go, taking your part, and then just popping it in to the hole like that. And then you just do that 10 more times. Well, 9 more. Right. First problem had to happen on issue 13, didn't it? One of my pins has snapped off. So, just there, if I get this into the light proper, you'll see that that one there has snapped. So I'm going to have to glue this one in place. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue it up against the breakwater like it shows you in the actual magazine itself, where all these silver parts are pushed against here. Just bear that in mind when you're building this bit. It's fiddly. So yeah guys, that's issue 13 all done. Like I said, fiddly was the word of the week. But we're all sorted, we're all done. The gun is all attached now, and the gearbox attached, so that all moves around. There is the little, I'll spin it all the way around if I can, there we go. No, it only goes halfway. So, we have got the little peg there, so I'm hoping that's obviously for the gearbox itself. I'm hoping that gets the gun itself moving up and down, so we can have different angles. Now, where it comes to the breakwater, you can't really tell without knowing which one it is, which one broke. So how I repaired that was I just attached, I got a couple of drops of super glue, put one on the breakwater, one on the actual hinge, and then just held the piece, the plastic part on with a pair of tweezers, and just give it a couple of seconds for the super glue to grab. That piece will never move now. It's on, it's permanent, and I know they're supposed to move, but sometimes you just have to take the rough with the smooth. Next week we are moving on to the motor that controls the forward gun, so hopefully that's the one that gets it moving up and down. I'm really hoping we get an electric test soon, because the only electric test we've had up to now was issue 3 or 4, 2, 3, 4, somewhere around there, where we were testing the recoil on the gun. So I'm hoping we start getting into the electrics as well with that one. So if you've got any questions, comments, feel free to pop them in the comment section down below. Remember to like, share and subscribe to the channel. There is potentially within the next couple of months going to be another build coming up. I know the X-Wing has just been released by D'Agostini, so that's kind of on my peripheral, if you like. But there are quite a few out there that I'm thinking of doing. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see. And so until next week, guys, happy modelling, and we'll see you for issue 14 of Battleship Bismarck.